Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and we've got to talk about whether you should be farming Jabba or Leia first. Now, for those of you who've been waiting, return on investment, the series I've been doing, I do not have player cards for these characters yet. I know what I would give Jabba, but I don't know what I would give Leia. And so I'm going to wait my time, kind of get the feel for the character whenever I unlock her, so that will be a long time coming, but I did want to at least give everybody my advice on whether I think you should be farming Jabba right now, you should be farming Leia, kind of what those different reasons are. And if you are going to farm Leia, please stay tuned, right? You got to stay. But if you are farming Leia, the advice I would give you on how to use your crystals and resources moving forward in this game. So let's dive right in. But first and foremost, we've got to give a massive shout out to my channel members. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. If you're interested in joining channel memberships, there's a link in the video description down below. Otherwise, all I can ask of you guys is to please hit that subscribe button. Leave your likes, leave comments. I'd love to hear from you, and I really cannot thank you guys enough for how much we've grown. Let's continue to grow this channel together. So back into the game now. Let's go ahead, and we're going to talk about Jabba and Leia. Now, spoiler alert, Jabba definitely has more benefit. I'm going to explain that because instead of waiting until, I want you to know that I do think Jabba has more benefit than Leia Organa does right now, and we'll kind of get there. We'll show you guys some of those things. So the first thing is that everyone for Jabba is accelerated, and I pulled out these characters as these are your Kyrotech intensive characters for Jabba. That your Cores Light Leia, Kersantin, Skando, and Fennec, those are your, equivalents to the Rex, Nisa, Scout Trooper, and Drogon. The big difference here, two of these characters aren't even on nodes yet, where Scout Trooper is a month away from getting a node, and Drogon is 2 months away from a node. Now, the other side of that coin is that you're now a year and 2 months away from Drogon even going accelerated. So you're a long time away from him getting to the point where you could be farming him. So you think in the time it's going to take you to farm 2 of these characters, you can have all 4 of these based on drop rates alone. So that is why I think Jabba's the ticket right now. You're going to get him so much faster. Now, Jedi Knight Luke is a requirement for Jabba and not for Leia. And that he's definitely adds a little bit of expense, if you will, to Jabba that Leia doesn't have. However, he does help you prepare for Leia. He helps you prepare for Jedi Master Luke. He is a great character. He's going to be a good character in the raid, I feel. So, Jedi Knight Luke's going to serve a lot of purposes for your account. And I think that a lot of players, if you're smart, you would still get Jedi Knight Luke before you even get Leia. I think he's just a building block now. He's kind of that, in my opinion, I see Jedi Knight Luke as you got your Executor, Luke's going to be your first building block to move on to your next farm. That's the way I look at the game right now, and I feel very good that my guide led off with that. So, the big difference, again, being that while you do need to get Jedi Knight Luke, in the time that you can farm these characters, farm these guys, you're going to be miles ahead with Jabba. So I'd be focusing on Jabba. Now, Endor Escalation did get a bonus tier. We're going to take a look at the data mine rewards. But it's a once-a-month event. It is a once-a-month event, whereas the Smuggler's Run is a twice-a-month event. So, just before we even get to what the rewards are, think about it from the standpoint that you're getting double the amount of rewards from Smuggler's Run that you would be getting from an Endor Escalation Tier 3. Because you get the Smuggler's Run every 2 months, or twice a month, and you get 2 attempts. Right? You get 2 attempts at it. You get, so we don't know, are we going to get 2 attempts with Endor Escalation Tier 3? Is it a single attempt? Again, we don't know, but it is only once a month. So are they going to increase the frequency or not? We have not heard that yet. And so you need to base that off the fact that right now, here's what we know. We know Endor Escalation's once a month. We know Smuggler's Run is twice. So let's pop open these data mined rewards real quick. And if you guys haven't ever joined this server, there's a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes event server where they go through and they do data mine things. Of course, it's not pulling up in my thing. Hold on. Come on. Let's get there. Come on. All right, BlueStacks, pick it up, please. Be nice. There we go. So, there we go. Now you guys can see this. This is Sig who posted this. He's kind of one of the big guys in the server here. So, here's the Endor Escalation Tier 3 event. So, you are getting an Omicron. You're getting these Ability Mark III materials. That's just a throwaway. Those are the purple mats. That's a throwaway. Then you look at, look at this. All the relic materials. But a chance at 0 and a chance at 18 here. 0 and 15, 0 and 8, 0 and 5, 0 and 3, 0 and 2. The zeros are what scare me here. What are the odds? Like what are the potential drop rates here? How many of these are you getting? Is it every single one of these has a chance? Is it you're gonna get a mix of these? Because I'm gonna group these into categories here. So you have the first two, which are difficult because you need so many of them, but they're not difficult to obtain. It's just difficult to have enough that you need at one time because of how often how many of them are needed in the game. Then the next two are actually the easiest in my opinion. Oroidium heat sinks have the best conversion rate with those Mark III holo projectors, which you can get with your guild currencies in massive amounts and get a lot of those Oroidium heat sinks. And then the chromium transistor pieces, there's just so many ways to get them. They're the easiest, and they have that piece in the guild store that with 150 of them, you get like 33, 150 guild points get you like 33 of these, which is a absolute steal. It's ridiculous. So yeah, these two are the easiest. Then you've got your Electrum conductors and Zimbital cards, and I group these together as they're tough to get, but there's plenty of ways to obtain them, right? They're not this thing that I feel is insane. Like you could even try to group the Zimbital cards on their own, but their conversion rate is I think it's a very generous rate. You get plenty of stuff to work on those materials from like different rewards that you should be able to build these up pretty easily. Obviously, as you progress in the game, you'll get more of them as you do hard mode conquest. Assault battles are a great way to kind of stockpile these, especially if you aren't taking characters beyond Relic 5. You can definitely stockpile these pretty quickly. But then you move down to your Relic 8 and Relic 9 pieces. These are the hardest things to get in the game. Some of them are gated by galactic power. Some of them just have the worst conversion rates known to man and should be investigated by the Geneva Conventions. But the 0 is what scares me here, guys. Like, what is the like? Is it a single? Hey, you're gonna get 0 to 2 of these, 0 to 2 of these. Like, is it every single piece has a chance? Is it you're gonna get 3 potential things of these? Like, I don't know. And that's where I'm struggling is like, how much of these can we expect? Now the zeros, this is just data mine. They could actually be like, you're gonna get at least one of these things. But you think of the Endor escalation events at, rewards as they are, where it's like, you get 2 to 4 zetas. I think I got 4 zetas one time. I got 4 zetas once. In the entire time that I've played this game, I got it once. So that tells you how often you can expect to get 3 Omicrons and the max number of any of these things. So I don't have high hopes for these rewards right now. I just don't. Seeing a 0 here scares the living crap out of me. But I did want to go back to the game. So there's a randomness to what rewards you're going to get, and I don't like that. I think that's a bit much, especially for a Galactic Legend. But there is something that I don't think we cover enough, and that is the randomness to mods. That while the rewards you get from the Leia event, like if the Leia event was as often as Smuggler's Run, you could make the argument that it could be really good for your account. Because there is a randomness to mods here, and I'm going to go on Wampa here, our king. So here's his triangle mod. So there's speed, offense, tenacity, and then flat defense. So there's a randomness that if I was to go, enhance this mod, right, calibrate it, and let's say I calibrate this defense away, there's a chance I get defense again. There's a chance it rolls tenacity or offense, or you know what I mean? That, like, if I was like, okay, I want it to roll offense, I've got a 25% chance that it's going to roll that offense. So there's a randomness to this mod. Now, the caveat I'll make here is that if I roll it off of this flat defense onto one of these stats here, all of those really benefit Wampa. So my character did get, objectively better, but maybe, and I've used this before, but like subjectively he didn't get better because he didn't get faster, he's not going to hit harder, but he does have a little bit more tenacity, which objectively does make him a better character. So the mods kind of help you, but it really is dependent on, like, you think, okay, it's going to go to this roll, right? I'm going to get, speed. Well, is it going to give me 3 speed, or is it going to give me 6 speed, or 4 speed, or, what quality of roll am I going to get? So, like, look at the offense here, right? I have a 58% average slice quality. Like, look at this one compared to this, right? That there is a randomness to the mods that sometimes I don't always know that we bring up necessarily. And that's a failure on all of our parts as content creators, that we really should say, yes, as good as Smuggler's Run rewards are, there is a randomness that if it doesn't roll the stats that you want, they're not as valuable to you. They're not quite as valuable. They're still good, but they're not quite as valuable. And you compare that to what I would say with the rewards for, the Endor escalation tier, where if you're getting relic materials, there's a randomness to the reward that you're getting. But whatever you got, there's no, like, if you put the same amount of resources into a character as me, okay, we're both going to relic 8 our Jabba. My relic 8 isn't better than yours. I didn't get anything more from my relic 8 than you did. Those resources, I need the same amount of resources to go from relic 8 as you do. There's no difference there. Whereas mods, there is that randomness of, hey, you got a speed roll, I didn't. I got speed, offense, health. You got flat this, flat that, So there's kind of randomness both ways. But for me, the randomness to the rewards of the Endor escalation tier, knowing the way that they are right now, and it's only once a month, I don't think it's worth nearly what the Smuggler's Run is. Because your mods get objectively better with Smuggler's Run. You're going to get better mods. Your chances of getting those speed rolls are going to happen with the amount of resources that they give you. It's going to take you a long time. Like if you got a single, just think about, the data mine was what? That you could get an Omicron every single time. So if you get one Omicron every single time in that Endor escalation tier 3, you got 12 Omicrons over the course of a year. So it's going to take you almost 2 years before you get a full Omicron from that event. So you get what I'm saying there, that it's a long time to see any sort of real benefit from that. And those relic materials, right? That sounds great. But if you got the max roll every single time, if you got 18 of those things, like if we go back to this real quick, let's just go back here. So if you got the max roll of 18 over the course of an entire year, you're looking at not even 200 carbonite circuit boards or bronzium wiring. I mean, is that real? That's maybe a character to relic 9 that you look, I think if you look at this over the course of a year, if you got the max number of these things, I don't even know that might be enough to get you a relic 9 character a year. So a single character, I mean, what are we looking at, right? What are we talking about at that point? And that's not even the signal data needed. That's just these things. So again, I don't think these rewards really add up enough unless it's a much more frequent event. And so I did want to mention that. I think that is important. So let's move back to the game, though, because I do want to talk to the players who do want to get Leia, right? Because it is important that I mention this. If you do want to get Leia, how should you be spending your resources at this point in the game? So with Rex and Nisa, with these two, you should be refreshing their nodes at least once a day, right? That you go through, oops, that was not the way I wanted to do that. You should go in and at least do your 25 crystal refreshes. Should at least do this for these characters. You could do the 50 crystal refreshes for them. I think after Conquest, I may start doing that. But you should at least be doing the 25 crystal refresh for these two characters. They're on nodes. You need to be farming them. You need to get them, so you want to get a head start to them. With Scout Trooper right now, I'd be in a holding pattern. I would not be doing anything with Scout Trooper right now. I would not be buying any of his shards, because even though you're like, well, he's not on a node yet, we don't know what kind of node he's going on. What happens if Scout Trooper goes in the Cantina, right? All those shards that you bought at that premium, you could have been saving those bonus crystals because Captain Drogon isn't in shipments yet. So my recommendation would be in a holding pattern with Scout Trooper. Wait to see where he goes farmable. Heck, if he goes to a node, move him up into this ×2, right? Start farming him twice a day. And then save all those bonus crystals and see what happens with Drogon. And then let's say that, let's say that Drogon happens to go in the Cantina, right? Then you start buying the shards for your Scout Trooper. Like the character, like if I was to buy shards in order of characters, like assuming, let's say they all go hard node, just for the sake of argument, they all go to hard nodes. Drogon shards are going to be bought first. I'm going to catch him up to the point of Scout Trooper. And then I'm going to work on catching up Scout Trooper and Drogon to where, say, Nisa is. And let's say that I finish Nisa, right? Then I'm going to work on just equally getting Drogon and Scout Trooper to that point that they're leveling up together, that I'm not putting more resources into one or the other. They need to both come up at the same time. So like with Rex here, right, I'm going to get him to ×2 probably in the next month. Scout Trooper hits a node, hopefully. If he goes to a hard node, I'm golden. Let's say I'm not done with Captain Rex yet and Scout Trooper goes to Cantina, or he goes to a hard node. Maybe I start doing Rex just once a day and I pocket those 25 crystals to put them towards Scout Trooper. That it's all going to be about where these characters end up going farmable. And that with Scout Trooper, you need to be in a holding pattern with him until Drogon gets here. Because if one of these characters goes on to a Cantina node, it goes into the Cantina, you're going to be able to get them to 7-star much more quickly than a hard node. So any resources, any crystals that you spent before that, you're going to want to use them on the character that's going to make sense. So like if Scout Trooper goes in the Cantina, I'm saving my bonus crystals and going to buy Drogon shards because there's no way they do two I doubt they would put 2 of the characters in Cantina. I highly doubt that. They could. I could be wrong there. But if Scout Trooper goes onto a hard node, again, saving those bonus crystals because I'm going to try and see where Drogon is and try and catch him up to the place that Scout Trooper would be. Even though I would much rather have Scout Trooper to 7-star earlier, there's no point in me spending those resources to get Scout Trooper to 7-star quickly, and then my Drogon is only, say, 4-star. Like, I've hurt myself, right? I've spent resources that I didn't need to be spending because I could be still farming Scout Trooper's node and use those crystals to farm Drogon and get Leia faster. So hopefully through all this rambling, that makes sense. But you don't want to be buying Rex shards right now because you have all this time to farm him. You have all this time to farm Rex, all this time to farm Misa. Do not be buying these character shards. You want to be saving those for either Drogon or Scout Trooper, depending on which one of them, or both go to hard nodes. So that's my advice on how to farm Leia in terms of these 4 characters. The rest of them, it's a lot simpler, I think, because, if you're a later game player, you've already got all those characters 7-star. If you're a player who's like, oh, this is going to be my first GL, I would save these characters until the end, personally. Get your double drop ones first, and who knows, maybe, depending on how long it's going to take you to get there, maybe these characters go farmable or something. I don't recommend buying shards for characters like these when there's still ones like this that you're going to need to get to 7-star. Because if I get Rex to 7-star today, that doesn't help me get Leia faster, right? If I spent the crystals to get Rex to 7-star today, right? If I spent the, 6,800 crystals, which I have enough of, right? I have enough crystals to get Rex to 7-star today. But that's not going to help me get Leia faster. It'd be better for me to save these crystals and potentially get my, Scout Trooper or Drogon, invest those in that character, depending on where the rest go farmable. So that's my advice, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, smash that subscribe button. Leave your likes. Leave your comments. I love all of you. If you're still watching, comment that I'm wearing a shirt with the A New Hope movie poster on it. I love all of you. May the Force be with you. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.